The New Orleans Saints just lost starting quarterback Jameis Winston to a torn ACL. The Minnesota Vikings just lost their best pass rusher in Danielle Hunter, who was tied for 10th in the NFL with Khalil Mack with 6 sacks on the season, to a torn pectoral. And for those of y'all who witnessed the Minnesota Vikings defense play last year without him, you guys know just how awful and how atrocious that defense played without him, and I don't think that bodes well for them moving forward. To add injury to insult, they also just lost at home in prime time to a backup quarterback named Cooper Rush against the Dallas Cowboys. To make matters worse, their next 3 games look like this. And they're all heavyweights, by the way. On the road against the Baltimore Ravens in Week 9. On the road against the LA Chargers in Week 10. And to cap off that 3-game brutal stretch of theirs, they're hosting the juggernaut that is the NFC North 7-1 Green Bay Packers. Do I expect them to win any of those games? I don't know about that. And then we got the San Francisco 49ers. Well, let's just say the injury bug decided to stick around for yet another season. And what has derailed what should have been a would-be juggernaut, let's not forget the Seahawks also have an ace up their sleeve in their own head-to-head tiebreaker against the San Francisco 49ers. The Atlanta Falcons, let's just say they don't play the Jets and the Dolphins every week. And to make matters worse, on their end, Calvin Ridley is stepping away due to a personal issue. He's having his battles with mental health, and I'm not going to blame him for that, but the Atlanta Falcons are not going to field a very good team without Calvin Ridley. Last but not least, the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's just say for as good as Jalen Hurts is in fantasy, he's just as bad in real life, and that's with all due respect. Now, what do all these teams have in common? They're all ahead of the Seattle Seahawks in the current NFC playoff picture. And while the New Orleans Saints and the Minnesota Vikings have head-to-head tiebreakers over the Seattle Seahawks, I don't see those teams consistently winning down the stretch without their starting quarterback and defensive end, respectively. Yes, they're going to put up a fight. Yes, the New Orleans Saints are elite defensively. Yes, they're still coached by an elite coach in Sean Payton. But Trevor Siemian or Taysom Hill playing quarterback for them down the stretch, I don't expect them to win a whole lot of games in the absence of Jameis Winston. As for the Minnesota Vikings, I already kind of went into it. Their next 3 games are brutal. And without their best pass rusher, well, that team's only going to take a step back. Heading into a much-needed bye in Week 9, the Seahawks currently sit at 3-5. And although there are a couple games under 500, and although most pundits are giving them a 20% chance of making the playoffs, they can still make a very realistic run at either being a 6th or a 7th seed in the NFC. Not to mention the pending return of running back Chris Carson and, of course, quarterback Russell Wilson. Before we dive deeper into this subject, I do want to remind y'all, for all my sports bettors out there, we do got a special gift for y'all. Again, as always, we have our promo code in all caps, Steezy. Be sure to use our link down below to receive a 125% sign-up bonus on your first deposit on up to $2,500 today. Start placing bets for Week 9. Let's get you some extra cash, shall we? Again, you do have to be 18 to bet on sporting events like that, so do keep that in mind. Without further ado, let's hop right into it, shall we?
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the.
As I alluded to in the intro, the competition ahead of Seattle in the NFC playoff picture just is not going to be as much of an obstacle as other people are playing it out to be. I forgot to mention the Carolina Panthers, another team that sits above Seattle in the NFC playoff picture. They currently sit 4-4, but I don't think the Jets were wrong about Sam Darnold. As the season continues to progress, their 3-0 start is starting to look more like a mirage. And with Sam Darnold getting worse by the week, I don't see it getting any better. And I understand he's been doing this without Christian McCaffrey, one of the best running backs in all of football. But man, oh man, he can't stay healthy to save his life. And I understand he's had such a huge workload placed upon his shoulders in the last couple of years, but availability is the best ability. And if he can't stay on the field, I don't see where this team is going. As the season has progressed, they've just been very up and down. DJ Moore, after a torrid start to the season, has not been the same. And so I don't see Carolina making a serious dent in the playoff picture. All that being said, not only does Seattle have that in their advantage, they also have the fact that Russell Wilson looks like he's potentially on his way to returning after Seattle's Week 9 bye, and that first game will be up against the juggernaut that is the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. But with Russell Wilson, I mean, we saw how competitive the Seahawks looked during his absence. I understand they were playing, against the Saints, against the Steelers, against the Jaguars, but the defense has been elite. Maybe I won't go as far as to say elite, but the defense has been more than holding its own. Right now, as it stands, the Seahawks are currently 11th in the NFL in points allowed per game at 21.1. As far as red zone defense goes, the Seahawks are 6th in the NFL at 48.39%. So that means that 48.39% of the time that Seattle is in the red zone, they only allow a touchdown 48% of the time, as opposed to a team like the Detroit Lions, for example, who are the absolute worst in the NFL, as they give up 83% of their red zone drives to touchdowns. Scary, right? Not only that, Seattle's third down defense has been one of the best, if not the best, since week 4. On the season, this is where they stand. Seattle's 7th in the NFL, as they allow teams to convert only 33.96% of their third downs. Compare that to last year, and there's a huge discrepancy. Seattle allowed teams to convert 45.38% of their third downs last year. 33% is a far cry from that, especially for a team that was on pace to be the worst in all of NFL history. So to say that the defense is turning a corner wouldn't completely be hyperbole. I mean, there's reason to believe that this team is finally starting to turn around. After what we saw last year, at least there's precedent in them doing this. And so I know the competition, like I said, hasn't been all that elite, but for them to do this against teams that they should be doing it against, I think that's a great sign. The pass rush should only get better. Trey Brown has been a revelation in the secondary. Darrell Taylor has been an emerging stud as a pass rusher for this football team. And sooner rather than later, Jamal Adams is gonna notch his first sack. Or should I make that plural, and start getting his first couple of sacks. With Russell Wilson admitting in his press conference about a week ago that if not for Russ Wilson, he probably wouldn't have been in Seattle a long time. Who knows? Maybe that signals a slight shift in philosophy. Maybe that enables Pete Carroll to give Russ Wilson the keys to the Ferrari, per se. Maybe he isn't so predictable when it comes to game plans and in-game adjustments and whatnot. I mean, we all know how important Russell Wilson is to this football team. And so he's going to have about 12 to 13 days up until Seattle does travel to Green Bay to play the Packers at Lambeau Field. And I'm not saying Seattle should arrest Russell Wilson, but just his pending return, even if he doesn't come back against Green Bay, he should be able to come back against Arizona, who might or might not have Kyler Murray. Either way, Seattle is on pace right now, or at least it looks like Seattle is going to be able to save its season. And I'm not saying Seattle's going to make a run and go to the Super Bowl and win the division or whatnot, just because a couple of weeks ago I was saying that the season could potentially be over. But what I'm saying is that Seattle still has hope. Seattle still has a fighting chance. And I mean, I wouldn't want to be one of those people that bet against Russell Wilson come, you know, the ending stretch of the season, or even come playoff time. I know Seattle hasn't had the most success, but one of the biggest reasons why is because Seattle's been so predictable. Again, Seattle's saving grace is the fact that their competition in the NFC from the teams above them, they're not going to be looking so hot down the stretch. Their defense is finally starting to turn a corner. And last but not least, Russell Wilson's pending return, as well as Chris Carson's pending return, should be able to revitalize this football team. As you guys all should know, Russell Wilson should never be counted out, and time will tell. That marks the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to stay tuned for more content. I know it's been a long time coming, but we're finally going to start live streaming. I'm hoping a fantasy football show, a Seahawks show, an NBA show. So definitely stay tuned for that. And we got loads of other content for y'all. I've been collaborating with a whole bunch of wonderful people, namely This Just In, the Go Talk podcast with Marcus. As always, of course, The Bolt with my brother Squabo and Dylan Brewski, and plenty of other shows that you guys don't want to miss. All glory to God, nothing but love, and Steezy out. Again, this video is going to be dedicated to Mr. Todd Nas. While that concludes this video, we have loads of other content. You don't have to stop watching there. Other content on our channel homepage, as well as our social media platforms. And again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for us. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Nothing but love, and Steezy out.